Hello and welcome to SL Inspiration. My name is Lucis, and I'm going to show you how to create this cool collage effect in Gimp. I recently watched a Texturlabs video on creating a collage effect in Photoshop and wanted to see if it was possible to recreate it in Gimp. Unfortunately, Gimp doesn't have some of the features used in the Photoshop tutorial, but I found using a few workarounds made creating the collage effect quite a simple process. The Texturlabs video page generously links to their free downloadable collage textures to be used as you want in your own projects, and it is these JPEGs that are used here. Just follow the link in the description below to grab your own copies, where you'll also find the Unsplash download link for the photo used here. For the purposes of simplicity, this tutorial has been divided into two parts. This first section deals with a little preparatory work, which basically involves creating a gradient we'll need to use later. Once the gradient has been created, the interesting stuff can begin in part 2, which will cover creating the collage effect in Gimp. Without further ado, let's get started. With Gimp open, create a new image. The size isn't too important. Select the gradient tool. From the gradient drop-down list, select FG to BG, hard edge. The Modify Active Gradient option will probably be checked. As the text below it explains, this will need to be unchecked in order to edit a copy of the selected gradient. Drag the cursor horizontally across the canvas window so a basic gradient is created. Click on the horizontal line midway along the black segment so a node is added. In the small window, upper right of the canvas area, make sure the linked icon is closed, so that both color swatches act as one. Click on one of the black color swatches. This window will appear. There are three sliders respectively named R, G and B. By adjusting these sliders using the triangle handles, we can select a color to add to the gradient. The first color we want to add is red, so drag the R slider fully to the right. When you're ready, hit OK. The red has been added to the gradient with the node at the midpoint of its placement. The area a color takes up in the gradient can be edited by dragging the edge of the color to the right or left. Click on the horizontal line again, this time midway along the white area, to add another node. Click on one of the white color swatches in the small window. Drag the R and B sliders fully to the left. When you're ready, hit OK. Green has now been added to the gradient. The last color to add is blue, so click on the furthest right end of the horizontal line, then click on the small window again. This time drag the R and G sliders fully to the left. When you're ready, hit OK again. Unfortunately, after creating a gradient this way, it can't just be saved. The above method was used because it's an easy way to create a temporary or custom gradient, which could be used immediately if we chose. The main reason this method was used, however, was to quickly provide an image with the specific colors needed for a saved, or permanent, gradient. To create a gradient that can be saved, we now need to turn these colors into a palette, then save the palette as a gradient. Luckily, this will only take a moment. First, select the Palettes tab, top right. If you don't see it, go to Windows, Dockable Dialogs, Palettes, and the tab should appear. Right-click anywhere within the Palettes panel and from the drop-down menu select Import Palette. This window will open. Select the Image option. This will use the colors in the canvas area since that is our image. The number of colors is set to 4, and as we need just one column for each color, the number of columns is also set to 4. If you need more information on creating palettes in Gimp, there is an in-depth SL Inspiration tutorial, linked to in the description below. When you're ready, hit Import. The palette can now be seen in the Palettes panel. Switch to the Palette Editor tab and give the new palette a name. Sometimes the colors in the palette will be out of their original order. Just use the cursor to drag a color to where it should be. This will create a copy of the color in the palette. Simply right-click on the unwanted duplicate and from the drop-down menu hit Delete Color. Back under the Palettes tab, the renamed palette can be seen. Still in the Palettes tab, right-click on the new color palette and from the drop-down list select Palette to Gradient. Select the Gradient tool from the Tools panel, and the new gradient will be listed among all the others. With the new gradient active, hit the Edit this gradient icon. To the right, the Gradient Editor tab will be active and its panel will show the gradient. For the gradient to be useful to us in Part 2, we need each color to have hard edges. Right-click on the first white triangle handle beneath the gradient panel. From the drop-down menu select Blending function for segment, step. The black is now a solid color with a hard edge. Double-click on the next white triangle handle to select it. The area either side of the handle will appear dark when it's selected. Right-click and again, from the drop-down menu select Blending function for segment, step. Repeat until all colors of the gradient are solid with hard edges. Although this process may seem a lot of trouble, once the gradient has been created and saved, it can be used on as many collage effect projects as you like. There is also the added benefit you now know how to create and edit gradients in Gimp, as well as save them. Join us now in part 2 of this tutorial to see how this gradient will help us create the collage effect.